All right, y'all. Welcome to PTC Cast episode 30. Today, Chris and I rant a little bit, as always, about habits and progressing and getting a little bit better. But I also take Chris through a consultation because we're going to start doing some coaching together. So you can kind of find out what doing a consultation to online coaching would be like in every kind of question I like to find answered, and really how we try to take the approach of designing someone's own fat loss and muscle gain program and then slowly dial it in over time to make it work for that person within that person's lifestyle. This podcast is brought to you by ProgressThroughChange.com, where you can get your 4 Easy Habits for Fat Loss guide. It takes like 2.937 seconds to download.
Mathematically correct.
And it'll change your life, man. Enjoy the show. All right, well, let's go ahead and format this like a consultation call then. How about that?
Sounds good.
Since we're doing a little bit of recomping.
Yeah.
So, post-powerlifting meet, we were 238 on the platform.
Yes, and right now I'm 231.
238 on the platform, 231 right now. What would you like to weigh? Or how would you
honestly,
like to look?
I'd like to maintain this weight and then just lose as much midsection as possible while I guess building up, my back and my chest, and then, keeping my legs the same.
Just like from a hypertrophy standpoint, you just want to build some size on your chest and your back?
Yes. So I guess let me step back a second.
You got to catch up to those arms, bro.
Yeah, man.
You got to catch up to those triceps, big fella. Bow.
The two main priorities that I have for this recomp would be, one, to just improve like the function of my body because, my scapula is still messed up, my hips, my upper back just gets really sore a lot. Yeah, and then the second thing would be to, just improve my figure.
Okay. So we're straight up bodybuilding then.
I guess so. Yeah. So body improvement is the first priority, and then the second would be, just looking better.
Okay, bet. How many days are you lifting right now, or how many days do you want to lift?
I want to lift 4, and I would love to do some cardio.
Okay.
Because I want to be able to move around more.
Okay. What were you thinking for cardio? Did you have anything in mind, or you want to get your heart rate?
I would love to do boxing and stuff, but I think that I wouldn't be able to recover like my upper back from boxing. Yeah. So I've been thinking about getting a bike.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like an outside bike or just a spin
an outside bike?
That'd be awesome, man.
Okay, cool.
I mean, summer's coming up too, man.
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about that for like a month. Just go around and maybe listen to some stuff and just ride around.
Yeah, I've thought about that before too, man. That's definitely a good way to do it. You get some sunshine too, de-stress a little bit, listen to a podcast. Yeah, man. That's a good time. Okay, cool. So bike, we want to lift 4 days a week. Do you want to keep doing the big 3?
Yes.
Keep squatting and benching and deadlifting?
Yes, actually. I want those 3
prioritized.
Prioritized. And then I don't care about the weight.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that, whenever I do start powerlifting again, that I have that form, under control.
Cool. So we'll just work with some volume then.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll just work with some
volume.
volume.
I don't mind variations, just not a variation on the squat.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That works for me. Sweet. Do you want to do everything twice a week, or do you care?
I hope I can recover from twice a week. If I can, then yeah.
I was thinking probably bench twice with just a little bit of volume on each day, and then squat and deadlift once with a pretty good amount of volume.
Okay, that sounds perfect.
Okay, cool.
That's actually what I'm doing right now. The only difference, I guess, is actually, now that I think about it, I squat and deadlift twice. No, I'm sorry. Never mind, I take that back. It's once a week for squat and deadlift, and then twice for bench.
Okay, cool. I got you. What's your sleep like right now?
My sleep is, I'm actually prioritizing my sleep like a lot. So right now I'm like 9.5 to 10 hours of sleep a night.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, cool. What would you say your stress is like right now on a scale of 1 to 10?
Thankfully, well, as of right now, it's been maybe like a 3.
Okay, cool.
But before it was like a freaking 10.
So you're just now kind of coming off a high stress state, plus with the meat and everything. So okay, cool. So you probably want to start a little bit on the slower side then, man.
Yeah.
Because usually when I get feedback like that from someone, I almost want to start with like the lowest dose possible until you get to a point where you feel like you're feeling good again. Dose meaning like volume. So
Yeah.
instead of being like, all right, 5 sets of bench, 5 sets of pull downs, 5 sets of curls, 5 sets of overhead press. You know what I mean? Like I try to start on the slower side and then just gradually ramp up because you want to give yourself a chance to chill out a little bit too.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do your joints feel right now?
My left hip, and then my left scapula, are the only things that's bugging me.
They're just like a little achy.
Yeah, they're a little achy. They're not like, I guess, affecting me or debilitating me. I don't know if that's the right word. Like they're not hindering any of my performance at all. It's just really naggy.
Yeah.
You know.
Outside of the big 3, are there any exercises that you force yourself to do usually? Like even if those spots are bothering you or something hurts, like is there ever an exercise that you feel like you really commit to or keep in frequently that maybe doesn't always feel the best or anything like that?
At first, yes, but now no.
Okay.
I make sure not to do anything that will like irritate my body in general.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, that's good then. So there's no like specific exercises, upper or lower, that you notice irritate the scapula or the hip or anything like that?
For upper, it would be shoulder presses.
With a barbell?
Yes, but that's only if I'm not like pulling my lats down.
Like, you're in
so usually I'll have to just have a longer warm up than usual, and then I'll be able to move it properly without any discomfort.
Yeah.
And
you always want to do a lot of extra warm ups before overhead stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've been.
So, I do a lot of like different trap 3 exercises, or like even some pull downs, or just some lat warm ups and things like that. Even some thoracic mobility, like some rotations, like a kneeling rotation or a foam roller rotation. Or
it never made sense to me that I would have to warm up my back in order to, prepare my front. But that's exactly what it is.
Well, that's where all your stabilizing stuff lives, man. Okay. So you have to think like the dumbbell overhead press is man, it's got to be one of the most, I don't even want to say complicated, but just like there's so many muscles working in synchronization to perform that are not only stabilizing but pushing. So there's a lot of things going on there as far as everything in like your mid and upper back, trying to stabilize that scapula and keep everything locked in while that elbow tracks out and in to get the front delt. Like it's really a big movement. So when you're breaking down things like that, like the more warm-ups you can do, the better. To me, when you're going into something like super technical, it makes more sense to do a lot more warm-up and prep stuff. And I would agree with you in that the most warm-up and prep stuff I do is always on a pressing day, so a chest day or a shoulder day. And that's just because all that stuff takes so much more extra stabilization. When it comes to like deadlifts, maybe I'll do some dead bugs and like some one leg RDLs, and then I'm pretty much good to go.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like bench pressing or doing dumbbell overhead press or anything like that, it's like, all right, well, I got to do something for trap 3, I got to do something for lats, I got to do something for external rotation, I got to do something for
what it is. Yeah.
shoulder itself. Like so it's just a lot of extra prep time, and so I think like the higher skill ceiling the exercise is, I think the more warm-ups it takes.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
It does make sense, because that's exactly what I've been having to do in order to, do stuff without discomfort. Yeah.
And do you have a pretty standard routine give me a routine like before bench press or overhead press?
Okay. Well, so for before bench press, I would just grab a mini band and I would warm up my elbows first. And then I'd grab a 7.5 pound dumbbell and do like tricep extensions and then shoulder presses, shoulder raises, and then I'd go back to the mini band and wrap it around my back and do like chest presses with it.
So you're really just doing like some light movements in different planes for each individual muscle.
But the most important thing that I would do is get the bands, wrap it around like a pole or something, and do like my
like scapular retractions. That's
focusing on focusing on that. And as of lately, I've actually been having to do that specifically for my left arm. Doing like you told me, let it extend, pull back, and then
row.
While I'm keeping it tight.
Yeah. And that's really, I'm glad you said that, because that's really what a lot of these exercises come down to, is it's, you can just move or you can pay attention. and move. And those are two way different things, right?
They really are, man.
You're going to feel the difference in your trap if you retract, then pull with your elbow, then let your elbow go, and then protract versus if you're just kind of moving in this forward and backward motion, you know? So I'm glad that you kind of made that point. Okay, cool. So that's kind of everything you go through. You don't do any kind of like thoracic rotation or...
I don't even know what that is.
Okay. Well, we'll get you some different exercises, but basically with thoracic rotation, it's going to be anything where you're rotating your upper spine, right? And so sometimes you can take like a half lunge or a half kneeling position rather and kind of rotate over each hip. Ooh. Or you can, and you see there's some different things like that you can do, but the reason you want
my back cracking.
Yeah, man. The reason you want to do a lot of that stuff is typically when the musculature that rotates that upper spine is warm and ready, it's a lot easier for your scapula and everything to work overhead because a lot of that stuff is closely tied together. So that's usually something I always like to incorporate when we're working with overhead pressing or even chest pressing or any kind of pressing that's going to involve like retraction, which is most of it, is going to involve some sort of rotations.
Dude, I actually completely avoid that.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because it's uncomfortable or?
Well, no, I just thought that it was, good to just, stay
nice,
I guess
and
straightforward. Yeah.
Stay nice and straight.
Like,
no, it's
like if I bend at all.
Yeah.
Or actually, I seriously don't bend because I'm like, oh, I can't bend.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily like to load it. There's some different motions you can do to load it. Like, I won't just start listing names, but I mean, there's some different exercises you can do to actually load it, but I don't even know if you necessarily have to so much as just wake up that musculature. So if you were to, you could really just sit on the bench and kind of twist back and forth and sort of take your time. You wouldn't want to like load that motion or anything.
Yeah, no.
But I definitely think that's a good idea when you're doing any sort of pressing. Okay, cool. What about lower body? What do you usually do in there?
For warm-ups?
Mm-hmm, yeah, because usually my lower body warm-up for most people is like, most people that have like, good knees and hips, good meaning like, all right, an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Usually we're just doing some walking lunges and then we're good to go.
So my bad. Are these warm-ups for my upper body?
Lower body, I'm sorry.
Or like whenever I do, bench and stuff, or are these warm-ups for whenever I do, squat or
and
deadlift?
Yep, sorry. Yep.
Okay. I put this liniment gel, I put that on my joints, and then I get a roller, just not a foam roller or anything, like an actual hand roller, and I make sure to roll out all my legs. Yeah. I roll out, no, not this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I roll out my, all of my legs, my hips, my hamstrings, and I actually started rolling out my calves.
Okay.
And then I'll do that for 4 sets while I'm warming up, and sometimes all the way up to my top set. And the movements that I'll do are Bulgarian split squats.
That's a great one.
Yeah, and I make sure to feel my toes in the ground and press with my whole foot whenever I'm doing that. And I do leg extensions. I don't do any hamstring curls. And then usually I'll use the actual movement to, continue to warm up. Yeah. But that's about it.
And you're usually just starting like 135 and then 185 and then
the bar 135 and just up.
Okay. And you just kind of work your way up. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, really when it comes to lower body, it's sort of, I try to take a little bit more of a simpler approach because there's a lot more, I don't want to say intricacies, but a lunge really hits most of your bases. And a Bulgarian split squat I pretty much consider to be very similar. So as far as that goes, I think you cover most of the bases there. Usually with legs, I honestly just start with, for myself, just split squats, and then I'll kind of gradually work up to some weight. Maybe I'll do like some one leg RDLs or even some dead bugs if I'm doing deadlifts or front squats or something like that.
Okay.
But that's typically where I start with that. So okay, so that sounds like you're in a solid spot there, man.
Yeah, and I would love to have, if you have better routines, I would love to have better warm up routines because, when I get past set 4, I'll feel fine, but those first 3 sets, it usually feels like, just rusty metal just moving, and it hurts, and I feel like I should definitely be more diligent and thorough for my pre-warm-up or my actual warm-up routines.
Yeah. If you have any documentation of your previous training, I'll have you send me that.
Okay.
Just like through this last prep. But how much time do you usually like to spend in the gym?
I would like to start spending less time. I would like to start spending a maximum of 2 hours. But
Okay.
as of right now,
that's plenty. Yeah.
yeah, as of right now, sometimes like it would go up to like 4 hours.
Whew. Yeah, that's a long time, man.
It was,
Yeah.
man.
I block myself an hour to train.
Yeah.
On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe an hour and a half. But during the week, an hour to train.
And I wouldn't mind doing, this is kind of off topic, I wouldn't mind doing like any cardio, after all of my training sessions, whether that's just like walking on a elliptical or doing a
Something
stationary
different,
bike or something.
Yeah, 100%. No, man, I think that definitely all sounds doable. Is there any sort of like concerns or things you have for me or exercises you want to keep in or anything specific like that? I try to always keep that in mind when putting together a program or starting coaching anyone, because I think it's really important to have your own like investment. So I know you already said like the big three, but is there anything else like specific you'd like to see? Like, do you like longer rest periods? Do you like shorter rest periods? Is there anything specific like that?
Right now I've been doing longer rest periods, but for this recomp, I would like to do shorter rest periods. I would like, I guess, to just make it feel like more of a workout, because before it was more of like, I was practicing for
You
the
want to
powerlifting
feel like you did
meet.
something?
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to work hard. I want to make sure that I'm freaking sweating.
Yeah.
And, just feeling good.
Yeah.
So
Perfect, man. Yeah. And then so within the workouts, I just have you fill in all your own feedback. So, if it says 8 to 12 and then there's 3 X's for each set, fill in your reps for each set.
Okay.
Fill in your specific weights, and you'll get the whole intro email as well. But
okay, hell yeah.
that was your entire online coaching consultation.
Awesome.
That was like we just did like an ASMR, or not an ASMR, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a virtual, like a tour.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. And honestly, like I'm really excited to do this, because I know I've been coaching myself for like the only time that I didn't coach myself was when I was 19 competing for becoming the official strongest teen.
Yeah.
But, I've been coaching myself since then, and I'm very egotistical when it comes to my training. Like I think I know everything, and I don't. And you're way smarter than me when it comes to this. And, I'm excited to see just training from somebody else's, style.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, but I think part of it too is just like not having that emotional input. You know what I mean? Because we all have our own like emotional input. Like there's lots of times when I like take notes in my journal where like, I crossed out like 3 exercises I was supposed to do and I just winged it and threw something else in, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so we always like, I think as individuals, we're more likely to call audibles unless we have like a pre-made, thing from someone specifically and following that.
Because now you made it, and now I owe it to you to actually do exactly what you tell me to do.
To follow through with it. Yeah. And so, no, man, I think it'll be fun. And then, that way you can actually get a more personal feeling of what the online coaching process is like too.
Yeah.
So then we'll dive right in and we'll get a sick little before and after transformation going. It'll be cool, man.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah. You'll be lean and mean this summer, man.
Dude.
Nice and diced up.
I'm actually really excited. Like even just to hear that.
Yeah.
Like just, I know right now I'm not fat, how I was back then, but I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to what I said when I was 18, which was, to become 180 pounds by the time I'm 25. And, I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to it. So it's cool to like see this realization of it. And yeah, I'm excited to feel better. I'm excited to move more. I'm excited to not be in freaking pain all the time, not having my joints hurting.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, man, to like work hard. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, dude, it'll be cool. And, I've had this thing I've been thinking about a lot recently, because there was a long time where I had been training for a long time and I still wasn't like confident with my shirt off.
Yeah.
And you think of like, that's not always going to be true for everybody, and we're all going to have our different perception there. And maybe that's more or less important to some people. But I guess my thing there is like, we put so much time and effort into the food and the training and the recovery and the supplementation and the attention to detail and all of these things. Like to me, with everything that goes into it, you should at the very least be able to take your shirt off and feel good about it.
Yeah, man.
I think to me, that's a big thing for everybody. And, that's what's, I see a lot of regulars in the gym, man, who, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that, but I see a lot of regulars in the gym who, are getting after it every single day. And, I see them for years on end and they make no change. And, maybe if it's just like your routine or what you enjoy, that's awesome and more power to you. But in my opinion, it's like you might as well be able to get a little bit more out of it while you're at it, you know?
Yeah, like what are you doing with it?
If you're going to do it, you might as well make some change while you're at it,
Yeah.
you know? So and
And
you
you
think
know me, bro. I fucking love change.
yeah, for
I
sure,
love
man.
it, bro.
Me too, dude. And it's just one of those things where it's like, to me, it makes sense to like, if you're gonna do it and put this much into it, you might as well feel good about it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's my TED talk there. So
Heck yeah. So I know you're not going to be, coaching my nutrition, but do you want to go over nutrition really quick?
yeah, shoot, man.
Okay, awesome. So right now, I guess I'll just talk about my nutrition right now, and then you give me some input on it.
Yeah.
So right now I'm, since I'm starting basically, or since I went from that stress level 10 whatever, and now I'm building back up, I don't have a set maintenance calorie yet. I've just been eating, trying to eat decent foods. And I'm getting better and better every day, but I can definitely see that my protein levels are not nearly as what, I think it should be.
What are you going for right now?
I want to go for 1.25
Per body.
times per
Okay.
body weight.
Sure.
So that's probably like 170 or maybe, or I think it's like 300 grams,
Yeah, 1.25 body weight would be around, because you weigh how much?
235.
235. Then
Or
yeah, it'd
550.
be
It'd
it'd be right around 300. It'd be a little shy of 300, I think.
Yeah.
So you're falling short of that right now. What's your total calories at? And
yeah.
we will go over macros and
Oh, really?
yeah, for sure. I start everybody with calories and protein, and then we work into more specific macros. But yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I only do macros, and I don't do like specific diet plans or anything like that. We'll go over supplementation too, but no, we'll definitely be talking about macros, absolutely. But no, sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Where's your calories?
I don't have a set, or I guess I haven't been tracking my calories.
Okay.
If I was to guess, it would probably be like maybe 3,250 or
Okay.
3,500.
That's
and
week one. Then start tracking and just figure out what normal is.
Yep.
Let's just so week one is always just me figuring out what normal is. So week one, just keep a food journal with calories and macros.
Okay. I do want to actually try to increase my fats during this prep
Any reason why?
to experiment, see how my body reacts. Because I know before this prep, I wasn't having enough fats, and as I was talking to you, like all of my joints and whatever was hurting.
Yeah.
And then you told me to increase it. I increased it, and it solved that issue. And now I don't really want to have as many carbs as I was having before. I think I was having like 500 grams a day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And I want to see how my body reacts.
A little more fat.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah.
Like instead of 30, maybe 35%.
Yeah.
Fats, and
Okay.
see how my body performs, and maybe that would come from like sausage
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Just some fattier meats or maybe olive
Yeah.
oil and things like that. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
so-
Definitely what I'll have you do first then is we'll just figure out what your normal calories are, and then we'll make a pivot point from there. So usually my process is week one, we're going just food journal. Week two, usually I'm having them just do calories, but we'll start calories and protein. Week three is usually when I introduce protein, but week three we'll start with a carb cap.
Okay.
And then we'll start figuring out, where it is you're a little bit more natural to land. So it usually takes me about a month to figure out like where specifically I want to get people. But usually the reason I do that is like, okay, let's say with your style of eating and who you are, if I give you a 250 gram carb cap, you broke through that by middle of the day.
Yeah, dude.
Whereas like somebody else, I could give that carb cap and they didn't even hit half of it.
Yeah.
But their calories were still
It's going to be different for
way
every
through
single
the
person.
way through the roof because they did keto for 10 years and that's what they stick with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's one of those things or they stick with a lot of those food choices. So it's one of those things where I try to figure out what your norm is, and then we slowly kind of build these walls around it, and then start, trying to direct it one way or the other. But that way we kind of stick with like foods you tend to like and routines you tend to stick in. So that
Yes.
way it's not like
Just
again,
manageable and
yeah, that
easy.
way again, it's not like, you just told me you're eating 500 grams of carbs. Well, I know that, but now I know, okay, I'm definitely not going to put you at a 250 gram carb cap week 3. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I like to work around you so much rather than me forcing you to work around me,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, and
Because I think it's more adherable that way. I think it's easier
like
for you
that,
to,
yeah.
to stick with
but
it that way.
I will tell you, like, I'll change to whatever I need to change to. And with that being said,
No, for sure.
Yeah, with that being said, those first two priorities, the getting my body fixed and then making my body look better. If I need to change my nutrition and actually have more carbs or whatever, I don't mind doing that.
Okay.
Like,
No, it'll be interesting to figure out. But again, my goal is always to make it like as adherable for you as possible.
I got you.
know?
Thank you.
So yeah, no, 100%, man. I think that's the best way to do it. Like, it's so corny, and I feel like I quote it every fucking day of my life, man. But like, the name of the game is fitting fitness into your life and not fitting your life into fitness.
Yeah.
And like, I try to stand by that with every decision that I make. Because like, for certain, like, if you want to get on stage, man, then yeah, you probably got to eat chicken breast, rice, and broccoli every 2 hours. But if you're just trying to look good at the beach, man, you don't have to do all that. So I guess that's my point there, is I always try to like work within parameters and context, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
yeah, so that's a big one for me.
It's funny. I preach that to other people, but I do not do that myself.
For yourself, yeah,
yeah, and you know that, bro. Like, I'm
man.
always going balls to the wall.
You just try.
So.
It's fluid rigidity, right? It's being loose at the beginning, figuring out where you are, and then locking it down, rather than trying to like lock it down when we're out here and then force it all in. If that, I don't know if that
because
example
and then
makes
what
sense,
happens, down the road whenever that's no longer realistic and you're trying to keep it realistic, well, you're just going to be battling yourself into the ground.
I just think there's so many ways we can make this happen a lot easier than forcing it into like strict meal plans or dogmatic ways of thinking. Like, we're all so different. We all react to things differently, and there's no point of me trying to take everything you do and flip it upside down. Yeah. So now, of course, there's some people who, are morbidly obese and need serious body transformations, and then we start smaller. But then that step is like, okay, well, we're gonna go no sodas, and then we'll go no chips, and then we'll go, so I take a different approach there. Yeah. But the thought process is always the same, in that like, you want to start out wide and then just gradually dial it in over time. It's a little bit easier to do it that way.
Mm-hmm. And even I feel like even with those really morbidly obese people, it may look like you're doing something drastic, but yeah, you're just taking out one or two things, and just those one or two things will pop. Yeah, shoot.
And man, and it's different for everybody. Some people cutting out soda is as simple as, okay, I'll drink more water, or I'll do a sparkling water or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But other people, like, a soda is, it's the only reason their meal tastes good, or you know what I mean? Like, there's some people who like people. The reason I try to approach it that way, man, is because everybody struggles with different things and is strong in others, right? Yeah. And so it's like, if I sit there and I just try to shove like no soda on you for 4 weeks, and we're half a week in and you've had 10 sodas already, that's probably not where I need to start, man. Yeah. Like, I need to figure out something else. And that's obviously a drastic example, but I think you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. It's about finding like whatever the starting place is for anybody, and just making steps from there. Because that's all any of this is, right? It's stimulus and adaptation. And even if that stimulus is like 0.5% or the smallest thing, like, technically you'll adapt. And if it's enough to notice, sometimes that fires people up, and then they can make another stimulus and they can adapt, and they can make another stimulus and adapt. And so
it's just that roller coaster of just,
it's
like,
just time
building
compounding. Yep. It's just time compounding. And that's really what it comes down to, man. And that's why, like, I sit here and just yell habits on this podcast every week of my life. But like, that's true, why, man. Like, it's those small steps that will just compound over time, man. It's like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to, like, it's not rocket science. It's energy balance, and it's time, and it's commitment, and it's discipline. It's all those things, but I don't think you can really say it's complicated.
If you look far away, it's complicated. Mm-hmm. But if you just find that one thing, it's just like, it's one thing that you're just picking to do consistently.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is too, though, but I guess my point, and I'm tangenting a little bit, but like, let's say we start training together. The only reason that you wouldn't know that taking out soda is good for you is if you think it's not significant enough, right? Because you inherently would know that, okay, the soda is obviously not helping me being morbidly obese, right? But you might also think to yourself, the soda's not what's making a difference, so I'm going to keep drinking that. Oh, yeah. So that's a level of ignorance. Yeah. Not you assume that, oh, this is not going to be enough of a change, so why am I even going to bother? Yeah. It's like, no, dude. If you put down one a day, suddenly you've saved yourself however many fucking calories
like
a year,
270 a day.
I mean,
or
dude, I did one of my first Monday emails. I wish I could remember it, but one of my first Monday emails was the math on if you drank a Coke every single day. and the like calorie balance, and these are all like rough numbers, but we can assume that 3,500 calories is a pound. I mean, we ended up talking about like 25 pounds of fat mass in a year or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm butchering the numbers.
Yeah.
I've been butchering numbers all podcast long. But my point being there, man, is like, it's such a small change that if you'd make it and stick with it, it would really make a difference. It doesn't have to be like chicken breast, rice, and broccoli 6 times a day. If you did that, maybe you'd make this like crazy wild transformation, but I don't think you're going to hold on to that.
No.
That's my point. That's what it all comes back to. Because if at the end of the day, 10 years rolls by and you look exactly the same, what was the point of any of it?
Yeah, and are you going to be eating chicken, rice, and broccoli every single day for the rest of your life?
Probably not.
Yeah, hell no.
Probably not. Yeah, so you got to find the widest place to start and then just slowly dial it in.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Episode 30. Thanks for listening. Bow, bow.
Bow, bow. I just flew the desk.